Hello and welcome to this new Jetpack Compose tutorial video. In this Jetpack Compose tutorial video, we'll be building a tennis app mobile UI by Pearl Web UI UX agency. Make sure you leave them a like. And in these three screens, we'll be building the one in the middle. As you can see, we have a top bar and a main section with a lazy column and a lazy row. For those who want to follow along this tutorial, the link to the GitHub repository will be provided in the description below, so make sure you check it out. And once as you open a link, you'll want to go to code and copy this link. When you have this link, you go to Android Studio tutorial and you check out a new project for version control. And when you be Android Studio tutorial, you just want to make sure you're in the starter branch so you can follow along this video. You come to starter and you make sure you check out this branch. Since I'm waiting the starter branch, the checkout option is not provided. So without wasting more time, let's get into this video. First is first, and as an overview of the starter branch, what we are having is a simple main activity with one composable function which will harbor our entire view. And as extras, we have a list of clubs. There will be a women's club and a men's club, which we have here. And it will just contain each object will just contain the title, which is women's club, the image, and the background color. Here we have, let's say it's kind of a teal or blue background color, and here we have another background color, which I'm not exactly sure about the color. Apart from that, we just have the data class of a club item, which contains the title, the background color, and the image. So now, first things first, we will start developing the top app bar. Since you know I like to go chronologically, we'll go to the top app bar first, then we'll go to the main section. In the top app bar, we have two buttons. We have a search button, and we also have kind of like a drawer toggle button. This looks like a drawer toggle button. It will be enclosed with a dark background with rounded corners, and this is just an icon button with a search icon. So let's go on to coding the search icon, not the search icon. Let's go on coding the app bar first. First things first, we have a very good layout. We want to use a scaffold. And this scaffold, we want to give it a background color of white. After giving the background color of white, we want to give a top bar. Takes a composable called top app bar. And the top app bar will have a background color. We can say transparent, since the scaffold has a general color of white. So give it transparent. You can also give it the color of white, it's the same thing. And content padding, want to give it padding values. Horizontally, you'll be padding, they will have a padding of 24 dp and vertically of 16 dp. So horizontal 24 dp and vertical of 16 dp. Sorry, it's supposed to be an equal to. Lastly, we want to remove the elevation. Since we don't have an elevation on the design, there's no elevation design, so we'll give it an elevation of 0 dp. Why do we implicitly have to set the elevation to 0 dp? Because the top app bar composable has a default elevation value of 8 dp. So to give an elevation of to make it have no elevation, we have to specify the elevation to be 0 dp. So in the body of the top app bar, we know we have two items. We have the drawer toggle kind of button and the search bar button. We can see a toggle icon enclosed by a box with rounded corner shape. and a background color of black. So let's start with that. So we'll create an icon button. Give it a modifier. We first want to give it a rounded corner shape. And you have a corner radius of 25%. It's rounded corner shape. Then the background color of black. The color of black. By default, you need to set an on-click action. And we know we want to on-click action, so we'll just give it an empty body. So in the body of the icon button, we have to give it an icon. Setting the icon, we'll use the default icons provided by Jetpack Compose framework. So we'll say icons dot default dot menu icons. The content description, thinking about those who are handicapped. And we'll just say menu icon. And the icon will have a color of white. Good, we are done with that. The next icon will be the search icon. But what do we notice here? There is a space before now we have a search icon. So to create this space or to push each icon apart, one way of doing it would have been such a way that we have added both icon buttons in a row, then set the vertical alignment to space between. But to make it shorter, we can use a spacer and give it a width of 1. Width of 1 means it will occupy all the available space that it can occupy. So after using a spacer, we'll create a search icon. So icon button. After providing an on-click action, which is mandatory above, in the body of the icon button, we want to set an icon and give it an image. So icons, want to fill icon, called search. Content description, sorry. Search icon image. I want to give it a color of black, and we need to give it a modifier because we want to modify the size of the icon. I want to give it a size of 32 GB. Good, so that's the end of our top bar. Let's preview this and have a look. Having a look on our preview, we can see we have the icons present as on the design. So our top bar, we have rounded corners, dark background, and the search icon. So now we can move on to the main body. Having a look at the main body, firstly we will have a rather big title in bold with a black color clubs. Then after that we have a lazy row containing 2 items, and those items will have rounded corners, a background color which will have as parameter an object. I think this will be a button with text on the image. Going back to Android Studio and the body of our scaffold, we first want to create a column. A column where, since all items will be stacked vertically, and as modifier, want to make it to fill the max size. After filling the max size, want to give it first the padding of the palette value gotten from the body of the scaffold, which is 8. Then a padding start of 24 dp. Since our items will not be touching the edge of the view. Then the body of the column, we want to have firstly this text gloves. It has a black color, it's kind of big. We'll surely give it an H3 heading size for the font, and it's bold. So we have text. Then as text, we'll give it a text of clubs, but we want to get a text from our string resource file. So we'll say string resource, and as ID will be string.clubs. After this, we want to give it a color of black. Then we want a font width of bold. After this, as font size, we want to give it an H3 font size. So we'll get it for material theme. Dot typography. Dot H3, and finally font size. And we want to give it a padding bottom of 20 dp, which will be the space between this text and the lazy row. The bottom 20 dp. Modifier. So after text, we want to create a lazy row. Of course, we'll have a modifier and want to make it to fill the maximum width, since it will be a scrollable row. So modifier fill max width. Then for the horizontal arrangement, want to space each item with a space of 10 dp. Horizontal, sorry, modifier. Want to give a space of 10 dp in between each item. So the arrangement spaced by 10 dp. So arrangement. Now in the body of the lazy row, want to look through for each item of clubs. The array is provided above here. For each of those items, I want to create a club item, which should be a new composable. We should take in the club. Club will be it. Let's come here and create a composable. I'll give me a composable annotation, and composable is created just like a function called crop item. It takes in a club, which is a club data type, and as default value. We don't need to give it a default value since we'll not be previewing this composable. So first here we'll create a. So let's first have a preview to be clear. We'll have a box. The box will have a background, which we'll get the background from the club object. Then in here, in the box, we'll have, let's say, column. No, we'll have a row. Having first item will be a column, and that column will contain text, button, and another text. Then the next item will be an image composable. So let's create a box, let's say box. And as parameters, we'll give it a modifier. We want to give it 100 corners, so we'll give it a shape, 100 corner shape, and we'll give it 100 corners of 30 TP. Sorry, I keep on messing up the punctuation. And the background, as background, we have a color gotten from the club object of club.color. Perfect. And the contents will be aligned to the center. So content alignment, say center. I need to give it a body since we said the contents will be aligned, and you cannot say the contents will be aligned to a center when the box has no content. That's why I showed the red. So we'll have a row, and we'll give it a modifier. We want to give this row a padding start of 20 TP, which is obvious. We also want to give it a padding top of 25 TP, and arrange and align the items vertically to center vertical. In the body of the row, the first item will be a column, and as modifier we'll have the column will have a width of 150 TP. So in our column we'll first have a text, with a modifier, giving it a padding, the bottom one of 10 TP. Then the text will contain a text of club.title. Look at the text from the club item or the club object, sorry. You have a color of black, a font size of, we'll give it an H4, so we'll get it from material theme typography H4 font size and a font width of bold. Let's wait for it to complete. Yes. Immediately after the title text, we have a button, just a simple button. By default, we need to give it click action. As will be empty because we have no action when it's clicked. And we want to change the button's background color. So from the colors property, we'll give it button default plural dot text button colors. And in here, we want to set the background color to white. The button will have a rounded corner shape, so we'll give it a shape of rounded corner shape, and will be rounded to 10 dp at each corner. The button will contain a text. Let's scroll down. And it will simply have a text possibly from the string resource with an ID of all levels. And the text will have a color of black. So after this button, we'll have a huge space. I'll say that we'll give it a spacer with a height of 180 dp. We have text. Let's put this on a new line. Text, I'll get the text from the string resource. I have an ID of events. The text will have a color of black. As font size, we'll give it a typography of H5. And modifier, I want to give it a padding bottom of 50 dp. Let's go below our column. So after the text, let's go below our column, and we'll be creating our image composable, which will hold the image of the tennis player. So we'll say image, and in here we'll give it a painter, and we'll set the painter resource to the image resource goes from the globe item or the globe object of the image of globe. After that, we'll pass in a content description. I will say image of the tennis player. And after content description, we'll pass a content skill, and we'll see fill bounds. Great. So let's have a preview on our device. So when we run all the changes we just did on a device preview, we will have this. So this is a text, this is a title text, clubs. Looks same to me, and these are the different club items of the lazy row. What we can see that differs is the image. So the image is a bit of low quality, so that's why it appears little. But if we had images of higher quality, then you could have filled up the space and just been like in the preview. So now let's move on to the next section, which will contain the lazy column. So moving on, after a lazy row, we'll first have a space. So we'll have a spacer. Then after the spacer, we'll have a row containing two text views separated, to each of them separated to the extreme, to the end. Let not say extreme end. One text will be chain and the other one is alias, and that alias will be a color of green. Let's say green. Then after this, we'll have some space before we have a lazy column, and each row of a lazy column will have an image, text, and text with a circular black background. So let's move into an Android Studio and implement this. So after the lazy row, let's make sure after it we have a spacer. I'll give it a modifier of, sorry, let's close this. And as modifier, we'll give it a size of 30 dp. You can also give it a height of 30 dp. So let's just use size of 30 dp for the space we're talking about. Sorry, it's modifier. Keep on having problems with modifier. Don't know why. Then we have a row, and in this row, well, give it a modifier. We want to fill the max width. Then we give it a padding. Sorry, capital M, and give it a padding end of 16 dp, since we have a padding start, and bottom of 18 dp. We want to give the items a horizontal arrangement of space between and a vertical alignment of, well, center the items vertically. In the body of the row, we have a first text view. Let's scroll down, which will have a text of string. Yes. The text will have a color of black. A font size, we'll give it a material theme dot typography. Want to give it an H5 size. Yes. We have a font width, and we'll give the font width of both. Our next text will obviously be yes. We'll give it a color. We'll get the color from color resources. As ID will be color, and we have ID of green. We want to give it a font size. It's a bit tiny, so we'll give it a font size of 18 SP, and a font weight of, yeah, we'll still with the font weight of bold. You'll be little. See, it's little, but it's bold with a green color. So let's format our code. And after a row, we'll have a column. One identifier to give a column, so let's go directly into the body. And we want to have, let's say, 3 items. So we'll just create a dummy for loop. Just create a dummy for loop which will iterate through 3 items and which will make us to create 3 of, let's call them the training items. So in Kotlin, build for and I in 1, 2, 3. We'll create a train item composable. It takes in no value. So under the club item composable, we'll create another composable the function called the train item. It takes no parameters, and in here we'll design our training item composable. But first, let's have an overview before we start coding the train item composable. So all this is a train item composable. So this will be a row which will contain 3 groups of composables. The first composable will be an image, or let's say an icon image with rounded corner background with a color of, let's just say, a color of X. After this, we have a column which will contain 2 texts. Then we have a space. Let's not forget the space. Then after the space, we have a text having a circular background with a color of black. So let's go on and implement this in Android Studio. So in a train item, the root view will be a row. You have a modifier which will tell it to modify the max width. Then we want a padding vertically of 10 dp and horizontally of 15 dp. Want to align all the items vertically. Center vertical. So want to align all the items center vertically. Let's format our code. And in the body of the row, we will first create a box which will contain our image. So box see fire see fire. I want to clip it because I want to give it a rounded corner shape. With a radius of 10 dp. A background. The color resource. green ball. Move the packet here. Want to use the padding all around of 5 TP. And the content of the box will be aligned to the center. So in this box we have an image. We'll give it a painter resource, and you have an idea of tennis player. Tennis balls. Yeah. As a dummy image, we'll give it a tennis ball image. I'll give it a content description. I will say tennis ball. So after this box, I want to have a spacer. I'll give it the spacer size of 8 TP. Then we have a column which will contain our text on the horizontal axis. We run the modifier. In the column we have text, and as text it will be yoga and tennis, if at all in person is on. We have a color of black, a font size, you get it from the material theme, typography. I'll give it a font size of H5. Of course the text is bold, so give it a font weight of bold. For our next text, we will have a text of February, just Feb. Then this is just dummy text. I'm sure in a production level application, all of this data or information, how you call it, will be gotten from the server side. But for now, we are just doing a UI recreation, so we'll be entering data manually, or would hard code it. Give it a font size of 16 SP. And as modifier, we want to give it a padding to the top of 5 TP. Since this text composable will not join to the first one, we have a little gap before it's being displayed. So a gap of 5 TP. So after this column composable, we have another spacer, and this spacer will tell it to get all the available space you can get, so which will help us to push our last composable right to the end. After the spacer, we have a box composable, and as modifier, we want the box to have a circular shape, so we'll clip it and the shape will be a circular shape. or circle shape. Not circular shape, but it's a circular shape, but it's called circle shape. Obviously, we have a background color of black. And the content will be aligned to the center. Yep. And in this box, we just have a text. And as text, it's $10. You have a color of white. A font size of 21 sp. A font width of bold. And finally, want to give it a padding all round of 70 dB. So we are done with our chain item composable. Let's preview this on a device and see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like on the preview. I think we might have just added some extra space here because it is in the design has to be flush with this title. That's not a problem. We just need to come here to the top of the chain item composable, and the whole has, yep, we'll remove this. So for the rest of the design, I can see we are right on it. We have come to the end of this video. You follow up to the end, and I want to tell you a very big thank you. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. I'll also be having more of these videos in the upcoming days, and also I'll be dropping during this week my first Swift UI iOS tutorial video, so don't forget to switch on your notification icon so you'll be notified immediately as the video is released. Don't also forget to comment if you have any problem following along this video or any video suggestions, and I will read it and get back to you ASAP. Also share with your friends so they can discover the channel and also learn with you. Without wasting much of your time, see you in another video. Bye.